Thank you for joining us to part 4 of our parenting series. Thank you to anyone joining us on Torah Anytime or from my website, heartofparenting.com. Last week, we spoke about the importance of emotional health. That if our children are emotionally healthy and happy, that gives them the optimal chances for success. That's what we need to be most focused on. Now let us discuss, how do we build emotional health? How do we raise emotionally healthy children? What do we need to give them? What do we need to do to build them up? So there are two major ingredients. We'll call this lesson 6. There are two major ingredients that we need to give our children: love and respect. In my mind, I compare it to, as we said, raising children is like tending to a seed. Every plant needs two things: water and sunlight. Sunlight, warmth, I think of as love, and water, nourishment, I think of as respect. So we need to give our children these two things, love and respect, and we'll spend time today discussing each one. Every one of us loves our child so much. We invest in them. We put so much time, money. Our lives revolve around our children. Our children that give us a hard time, we have so much pain from them when that happens because of our deep, intense love for our children. But we have to make sure that we communicate, we express our love for our children. We have to speak out every so often. I love you so much. We cannot rely on the things we do. Parents will say, well, I do so many things for my children, I do so many things for my child, I go here for them, I go there for her, I do all these things. It's obvious how much I love my child. I don't have to say it. Why a parent wouldn't want to say it needs question. Some parents have a hard time communicating, maybe has to do with their upbringing. But we have to break that barrier. We must tell our child, I love you. We can't rely on our action. A number of years ago, I had a student of mine that felt that his mother didn't love him. So I had a meeting with the mother and the child. And I said over, with the child, in front of the mother, and it was hard, I felt bad, but I thought this was very important to clarify. And I said, your son, we'll call him Yankel, your son Yankel, he feels that you don't love him. Yankel didn't want to say it. So Yankel, is that true? Do you feel that way? And Yankel says, yes, yeah. And the mother, I felt bad. The mother was obviously shaken up. And the mother responds, why would you think such a thing? Why would you say such a thing? And, and I do this for you, and I do that for you. So I said to the mother, I said, instead of questioning, why your son is thinking this way, instead of explaining, arguing, all you have to say, just say right now, I love you. Just straighten this out right now by making that statement. I love you so much. And the mother said, straight, I love you. And it made a very big difference for the son to hear it straight out from his mother's mouth. Apparently, she hadn't communicated well enough. Just those words, I love you. We have to say those words. We also need to follow up with actions. Affection, hugs, kisses. Some people hug and kiss more often than others. But a physical affection is very important to give to our children. This cannot be stressed enough. In terms of our actions, in terms of doing, we definitely also show our love for our children when we put ourselves out for them. Some children, the parents tell them, go find a ride, etc. And they rely on everyone else's parents to take care of their child, to pick them up, to give them rides. And I personally think that no, we want to be that parent that the child relies upon. We want to be that parent that's bringing the other kids to the park, to the school. We want to be that parent that the child feels, my parents are always there for me. And they put themselves out for me. Because when we invest that love into our child, number one, the child will feel that love and it'll build their emotional health. And number two, which we'll discuss at a later point, that if our child feels our investment in our love, definitely in the long run, they're going to want to reciprocate to us, to give us nachas, and to behave and to have a good relationship with us. So love is so important. The challenge becomes, and this is most often where things chas v'shalom can get off course, is we have a child that's very challenging. He's hard to love. I've heard that from many parents, and it's understandable. We're not judging. Some children can become hard to love. They give us a lot of pain, frustration, especially if they becoming teenagers, if they're difficult, maybe disrespectful, and we have a hard time loving them. However, the love must continue. Now, let me explain here. Every parent loves his child, loves her child, even when the child is acting out and giving us pain, and we become angry, and there's a negativity inside of us. The love does not disappear. If chas v'shalom, the child needed help, child had some type of sickness, God forbid, the parent immediately would give everything for the child. The love is not gone. However, it's not enough that the love is deeper down, and on the outside there's negativity, some animosity brewing on the top. We need the top, the surface, to also be filled with a love, or otherwise many things happen. The child becomes resentful, the child becomes hurt by the parents' negativity towards them. Is it fair? The child is acting out, the child is being disrespectful, the child is giving us such a hard time, and I have to love him anyways, and I have to give him that love anyways. And the answer is yes. You're the parent, you're the father, you're the mother. He or she is a child. Even the teenagers, they're children today. They're a child. We have to be bigger, we have to be better, we have to emulate Hashem, who loves his children, who loves us despite our failings, despite our shortcomings. We have to be bigger than that. We have to find a way to put aside that aggravation, put aside some of their behavior, and find a way to continue that love for our child. You know, when our child is sleeping and they're peaceful, they're not disturbing anyone, so we could go into their room, look at them, and hopefully at that moment we could find that love that we have inside for them, and maybe go over and give them a kiss and say, I love you. We need to be able to do that even during the day, even when there's some challenges. We need to be able to separate the challenges, the pain that they cause us, but separate that from the love, the great love we have for them, and be able to show them that love. Obviously, in the middle of a fight or in the middle of a challenge, that may not be the time or possible. But the minute there's peace, we need to be able to put away what happened a few hours ago. And when the child comes home, give them a hug, give them the love, feel the love. This is an internal battle. Children are very perceptive. Mothers or fathers can say, I love you, can say, I'm proud of you, can say all types of things that sound good. Children are very perceptive. This is an inner struggle to be able to develop and feel the love for our child, even when our child is difficult and not exactly right now the way we want him to be. One helpful, very helpful idea is to be able to be positive. Think about the future. Be optimistic for the child. Not to get caught up in today, the child is acting like this, acting like that. Believe in them and be able to see it's a stage, It's going to pass. Many times I meet with parents that are having a hard time with their children and they're feeling despair. And I tell the parent, I say, imagine if in a year from now I could promise you, I could show you on a video, a year from now, your child is doing so well, he's davening, he's learning, everything is good in a year from now. Do you think today you could stay calm? Do you think you could be happy with your child today? Give them the hug, give them the love, not to criticize them for everything. Have that patience. If you would know that in a year from now, everything would be different, maybe even a year and a half, 2 years from now, you know everything's going to be in a great place. And the parent almost always says, yeah, if I would know that, I'd be fine. Well, we need to do that. And the truth of the matter is, if we're able to do that, if we're able to love our child and think that over time, the davening, the learning, the Yiddishkeit, these things will fall into place. If we hold on and we're positive and we keep the relationship and we continue our love, if we see them as the future success, future Ben Torah, future Bas Torah, future Mensch, then all likelihood they will get there. Our belief in them, our relationship with them, our positivity is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and they will get there. But if, chas v'shalom, we get caught up in the behavior today, and we get caught up in their childish challenges, and we become frustrated, we become angry, and have a negativity, and that severs and damages the relationship with our child, then we are just increasing the chances of chas v'shalom failure. We are pushing away the child's ability to improve himself, improve herself. So many times it's so much about patience. Today, teenagers are growing up. It's not an easy society. There's a lot of temptations. Children today grow up a little later. Some children just need time until they're ready to buckle down. And we need to have that great patience for them. If we're able to see that in the future, everything's going to be fine, the child is going to be successful, focus on the good qualities, see the potential, then things are going to be so much better. We'll be able to love our child. We'll be able to be positive with our child. We so much need to work on this area. This is one of the most crucial points of parenting, and where I see much damage occur. When parents become negative and feel resentful and look down on their children, and they stop the love. They're not able to love their child. I don't mean they don't love their child, but they're not able to give love. They're not able to effuse love. They're trapped in the problems of today, and they become negative, become down on their children. Many times parents think, well, if I continue to give love to my child, they're going to think that we approve of their behavior. If I show them when they come in the door late at night, they're not dressed the way they should, and I give them a hug and say, I love you, I'm so happy to see you, they'll take it as an approval of their behavior. And this is just not true. This is not the case. Our children can understand the difference between love and approval. We love our child, and we can tell our child, we love you. And sometimes there's nothing wrong if we tell our child, we're not happy with certain things you're doing, but we love you so much. We see so much good in you, and we know over time, you'll grow. Just because we're giving love to our child is not a message of approval. If we make the mistake and hold our love based on their behavior, it's a very dangerous course. It's not going to lead to good things. When a child feels that my mother or father only loves me if I'm doing what they want, if I'm giving them the nachas that they feel they deserve, children become very resentful. It does not encourage them to become better. Oh, I want to become better now because my mother doesn't love me, my father doesn't love me, so I want to become better to get their love. The opposite. It makes them say, I don't want to be better. I don't want to do things just to make them love you, just to make them happy with me. It causes the opposite effect. If, however, we continue the love, we continue the positive energy, and the warmth to our child, despite their struggles right now, despite the fact that they're not behaving in every way they should. The child feels appreciation to their parents. My father loves me. My mother loves me. They're so patient with me. They understand that I'm going through difficult times. They don't get down on me. They believe in me. They believe in where I'm going to be. And they have gratefulness to their parents, and it only breeds improvement. It may not be immediate, but over time, it's going to be crucial in the child's ability to grow and to succeed and overcome their temptations, overcome their challenges. There's not enough words to express how important this idea is to maintain that strong love and warmth for our children under all circumstances, under all situations. Another mistake is that parents will use opportunities to give love, opportunities to show love, opportunities to build relationships by trying to get things out of it. I call it the strings attached. Parents will ask me, I want to take my son on a trip. I want to take him on a ski trip. But what do you think I can get out of him? Should I try to get out of him chakras, davening for a week? Should I try to get out of him this or that? And I tell them, you're making a big mistake. If you're going to only take them on the trip, if they go to davening for a week or do something, so then the trip, the opportunity to spend time with your child, the opportunity to show your child how much you love him and appreciate him, appreciate her, is going to be completely lost. The child says, yeah, my parents taking me on a trip because they want me to go to davening, because they want me to learn. So it negates the love. Imagine in a marriage, a husband gives his wife a gift. It says, I'm giving you the gift on condition you do this. That is not going to be a very positive present, a very relationship building gift. With our children, there are times where we may want to use incentives. We want to say, we'll give you this if you do that. That's okay, that could be good, especially with younger children. However, if it's an incentive, then make no mistake, that's not a love-building gift. That's not going to build the relationship. And more important than all the incentives, more important than your kid going to davening for a week, is building that relationship. If you just take the child on the trip and just give him that unconditional, unstrings attached love, I love you, I want to spend time with you, I want to give you a good time, I want to get to know you, without any strings attached, you're going to get much more. You're going to get much more out of it. Your child feels that love. Your child feels that warmth. That's going to cause the child to develop, to grow, and later on to want to give you nachas, want to become closer to you. So we shouldn't sell ourselves short to trade in a ski trip for a week of chakras. I'm not belittling every davening, but we're trading ourselves well short. You may get a few days of davening, the child's only going because they want the trip. How much it's going to last afterwards? Probably not. But if you give the child the gifts unconditionally and you build a relationship, you won't just have chakras for a week. Ultimately, you'll have chakras for life. So let us not give things with strings attached. Let us give love because I love you. Why? Because I love you. That's why. I'm giving this to you because I love you. What a great message. What a relationship builder. That's the love, the sunshine that we need to shower on our children. Let us move on to respect. We need to have respect for our children. We need to treat them with respect. Today, kids feel they deserve respect. We need to treat them with a certain respect. I don't make a mistake. A child is supposed to get up for a parent, kabres avicha vesimecha. But we need to treat them with certain dignity and sensitivity. Be careful not to embarrass our child, even if they're little. We have to be sensitive to their feelings, not to embarrass them. And treat our children with a tremendous amount of respect. After all, they are the children of Hashem. They are Tselem Elokim. And we have to have respect for our children. And We need to give compliments. We need to praise our children. Say kind words to them. Make them feel good. Honest, sincere compliments. Insincere compliments are very unhelpful and even damaging because the child can sense it, and then the child doesn't know anything you say, whether you're being real or whether you're being fake and insincere. Honest compliments. Don't praise your children for things they don't have. Parents will tell their little child, you have such a beautiful voice, and meanwhile they sound like a frog. That's not setting them up for success, and then they go to the tryout for the choir and they don't get in. What do you mean? My mother and father said I have such a beautiful voice. Oh, I guess my parents don't have a good perception of reality. So everything my parents tell me may be completely off. If your child sings and they sound like a frog, don't tell them they sound like a frog, but tell them you enjoy them singing. They sing nicely, but don't overdo it. Don't tell them they should be in a choir. Same thing with brains, intelligence. Don't tell a child he's a genius if he's not. If the child's a genius, then you have to know how to do it. You don't want to overly focus on it. However, we should tell our child that he's smart. And instead of always and constantly telling him, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart, rather yet, once in a while, have a conversation with him privately and say, I want to tell you, I'm not going to say this so often, especially in front of the other children, but I want to tell you privately, you're Bli Ayin Hara, you're so gifted. One private conversation with a meaningful compliment is far more valuable than just constantly throwing it out in a cheaper way. We have to focus on the quality of the compliment, not just the quantity. Sincere, mean compliments. And even if our child, and this is tricky once again, our child is challenging, our child gives us a hard time, we have to be able to see the good in them and be able to compliment them for it. You see the good, maybe it's the way their loyalty to their friends. I see you're such a good friend. I see that you're so kind. Find things that they're good at, that they have good qualities, and praise them for it. But you have to mean it. It has to be sincere. If the negative is completely overriding your view on them, you look at them in a negative way, even if you tell them the compliment, they can see right through it. You don't mean it. You hate my guts. You think I'm a bad child. You have all this negativity towards me. What you're feeling is more powerful than anything you're going to say. We have to be careful when we do compliment not to try to express any future expectations. For example, a child who doesn't always do well, he gets a 95 on a test, unbelievable, he gets a 95. So the parent says, wow, that's amazing, so proud of you, got a 95. I knew you could do it, see, you could do better. You could be doing 95s all the time. If you worked harder, you probably get 98s, you probably can get 100s. You're so capable. Big mistake. Because what you're doing is you're using the child's success against him. Oh, I got a 95 now. Now my parents expect more from me and more from me. I had a student once, he told me he doesn't like to do well, especially in the beginning of the year, because then the Rebbe is going to expect from him good grades. I said, don't worry, do well on this test. I won't expect anything from you going forward. The best thing is just compliment now. Compliment today. I'm so proud of you that you got a 95 in your test. That's amazing. Don't mention the future. The child himself. We have to be smart. Many things you're not supposed to say. Let them figure it out. You tell the child, wow, it's amazing. You got a 95 on your test. I'm so proud of you. That's great. And then the child on his own feels good about himself. He feels the parent's pride. He feels the nachas. And then he thinks to himself, wow, it feels good to do well. Maybe I could try to do well on the next test. But hanging the future on their head and hanging the expectations on their head is not going to be good. It may cause the opposite effect. We have to be positive. We have to be positive on our children. Focus on the good. And like we said before, taking into account the future, being optimistic makes a tremendous difference. Somebody has a child that's not such a good student, struggles academically, but they have very good street skills and they have other talents. One day they may be a wealthy millionaire, and everyone's going to come lining up to their door for tzedakah. All the yeshivas that had a hard time dealing with them are going to be going begging them for money. So when you look at a child who's struggling in school or struggling in behavior, focus on the positive. This child has character. This child has guts. This child has so much ability. Right now, it's not easy to manage as a child. But if I focus in the frame of a future, if I focus and be positive, that one day they're going to use all these talents for good things, which they can, and they will, especially if they have our support, then already today we'll be able to have that positive look towards them. We'll be able to give them the respect, give them the compliments, give them the love, give them the good vibes. That's going to happen if we are positive and see a future ahead and not get caught up in the struggles of today. So once again, today's lesson, abundance of love, abundance of respect, abundance of positive words. Be careful with negative words. Be careful with criticism. Be careful with our anger, not to say harmful things. We need to have a positive, warm, loving relationship with our children. Thank you very much for listening.